Today on the 1012 Picks Pod, myself and Chase are joined by Andrew Caley of Covers.com to make picks for every non-FCS Big 12 game. That includes some sickos like Colorado, Delaware, and Texas Tech, Kent State. Some absolute gems like Arizona State and Mississippi State. And of course, we're going to recap how we did last week. Not great. And a whole lot more coming up on the 1012.
Every touchdown brings you closer to a payout with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code SPOTIFY to get $300 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first bet of $5 or more. In partnership with DraftKings. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. Fees may apply in Illinois. 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expires 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
Introducing the perfect companion to your morning listening routine. AG1's clinically backed formula is now flavor-packed with 3 new delicious flavors: tropical, berry, and citrus. Start the day on a high note with probiotics that taste like the tropics. Mix it up with micronutrients that taste like berry or citrus. And take it all the way back with the classic AG1 Original with notes of pineapple and vanilla. Do your health a flavor, or 4, with AG1 Next Gen, the daily health drink. Learn more at drinkag1.com.
Welcome to the 1012 Picks Pod, where every week myself, Phillip Slavin, and Chase A. Kiddy from BetMGM make picks for every Big 12 game on the schedule. Of course, that is minus the FCS games. Of course, the 1012 is the flagship show of the 1012 Network. Find every show on the network at 1012network.com. We are partners with Sports Social, Europe's biggest sports podcast network. Chase, my friend, welcome back, sir. How was the trip, and how was preparing for the Circa Millions contest this year?
Every time I go to Las Vegas, I think I never want to come here again. And it's nothing against Las Vegas, and I love Circa. Circa is like probably my favorite place in the entire world. It's just the flight from Virginia to Vegas. Sometimes you can get directs, but a lot of times you got to go through Chicago or through Charlotte. It's just the worst thing in the world. It's forever. I didn't sleep for like 2 3/4 days. I'm like out of my mind trying to take care of young kids. So it's just like, I love the contest. I love being competitive. I love like matching, go put your skill up against the best people in the world. I love that part of it. And I love the actual Circa. I love everything about Fremont Street, but my God, man, the to and the from, so rough.
I'm sorry to hear. I've never been to Vegas. It's on my to-do list, but not on my wife doesn't want to go. So I'm like, I've got to find some time in which she's going to be like, yeah, you can go by yourself or with a friend. We'll see what that happens. Speaking of friends, very excited to be joined today by this week's guest picker, a first-time guest picker, and we love having first-time guests here on the show, especially when they come recommended by friends of the pod. Joining us from Covers.com, Andrew Caley. Andrew, welcome to the 1012, sir.
Very excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We have a mutual friend in Douglas Farmer who DM'd me on Twitter today. I was like, hey, I heard Andrew's coming on. He's like, good pick, good choice. And I was like, thank you. I love I love being told that my decisions were correct ones.
Well, you can't believe anything that Doug says. So hopefully I can do him proud or not proud. I don't know. My relationship with Doug, I'm glad he calls me a friend. That will just say it like that.
Well, we won't hold that against you. Don't worry. Okay. Andrew, to kick things off today, we gotta ask what you've been doing. You've been doing this for a while. What's kind of your philosophy when it comes to betting on college football?
For me, I focus on a few things, really. Who is pressuring the quarterback and who is protecting their quarterback? I think that is so much more apparent in the college game than it is in the pros. And if I have a team that has a really good offensive line, I'm going to feel confident in laying chalk with them. And if a team is really good at creating pressure, that's another thing I'm looking at. There's a lot of advanced stats these days, like offensive line yards and defensive success rates, which I use in all my handicaps now as well. But I really chalk it down to really simple things like who is pressuring the quarterback and who protects the quarterback, because there are a lot of quarterbacks in the FBS, 136 starting quarterbacks this year. So I think the variance in them isn't like, it's pretty wide, but we get to a certain point and it's not as wide as you would think. So who is making those lives more difficult is really important to me.
Not a lot of difference between quarterback 50 and 100 is what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. Okay.
Probably not a lot
Chase.
between 30 and 100.
Chase, we got to recap last week before we dive into this week, sir. It was not a good week. It was not a good week for any of us.
It was not.
Our good guest Gary went 3-5. I went 3-5. You went 2-6. Let's run them here. Gary hit on Cincinnati +7, Georgia Tech -4, and TCU -3.5. The misses for him were UCF -20.5, Baylor +2.5. Consensus loss. Hawaii +17.5, consensus loss. Under 52.5 in Utah, UCLA, and Akron +6.5 versus Wyoming. So our guests start the year at 3-5. Andrew, I don't know if that puts a little bit of pressure on you, but that's what you got to do. You got to beat 3-5 to be our best performer and guest at this point in the season.
I will say, I don't think your results were out of the ordinary for week one. I didn't hear of many people that were like, "Oh man, I just absolutely killed it in week one." It was a bit of a slog.
Good to know. Chase, you hit on Jacksonville State +20.5 and TCU -3.5. The misses were Nebraska -6.5, Baylor +2.5. Again, consensus is just killer on the 10-12 Picks pod. Missed on Colorado +4.5, Hawaii +17.5, under 52.5 in Utah, UCLA, and your Georgia -39 came up just short.
Yeah.
Gotta hate that. Sorry.
2-6, I will say. A lot of times we have on the show, we pick the Big 12 games, and then I have completely different picks in real life. And like, I have a bad week on the show, but I have a profitable week gambling. I could not hit the broadside of a barn this week. I mean, everything. I had Georgia 38.5. We had 39 on the show at 38.5. Pretty big in real life, and that was not a great bet. I came in live on the over in the Ohio State Texas game, thinking, man, they're gonna punch one of these in from the 1 yard line. Nope. Thank God I got money down early on the Michigan under and the Kentucky laying the points against Toledo, because those. I mean, they moved through what ended up being the cashing number. So, I mean, it could have been even worse. I had a pretty rough week, so hopefully we can rebound.
You got a good opportunity this week. Plenty of opportunities, I would say. And I also went 3-5. The hits were Utah -6, over 56 in TCU, North Carolina, and Tulane -5.5. The misses were the over 52.5 in UCF, Jacksonville State, Nebraska -6.5 for Cincinnati, Baylor +2.5. Again, consensus is a killer. Over 52.5 in Colorado, Georgia Tech, and Hawaii +17.5 versus Arizona. So 3-5 for me brings me to 5-7 on the season. 2-6 for Chase brings you to 4-8 on the season. Look, it's early, and no one's records are anything that can't be come back from. Chase, look, we never want to overreact to week one, right? Both in results for the games as well as how he picks. But do you have any takeaways from week one as far as how you might want to look at games you're going to bet on moving forward? I think Chase is frozen.
I'm here. I got you.
Okay. Did you hear the question?
No, I'm sorry. Maybe I was frozen there for a minute.
Do you have any takeaways from week one that you're going to apply to your picks moving forward?
I don't think so. Do better.
Okay.
Look, because you only have the 1 week sample, I think the idea is you have to go back to formula and say, did I get the handicap wrong? Was there something I fundamentally didn't understand about the teams and the rosters and the schemes? Was this bad luck? I think in a lot of cases for my real life plays, I was really unlucky a lot of times in a row. And so I'm not going to, I'm having some fun here with how bad the picks were, but I'm not going to sweat that too much because that kind of thing tends to even out. The Big 12, because, we have the forced action, I think it's a little harder to see. So let's get a little further into September before we make any broad declarations. But, there were some teams that burned us last week that we talked about on Sunday even that I'm going to go right back to the well with here probably. So I'm not going to overreact after 1 week.
Fair enough. Okay. Well, we've got the biggest show of the season every season is week 2 because it's so much non-conference FBS versus FBS action. So we might as well stop delaying and just hop into these. You guys ready to make some picks?
For sure.
All right. We're going to take a quick ad break and then we'll get things rolling.
Mint is still $15 a month for premium wireless. And if you haven't made the switch yet, here are 15 reasons why you should. 1, it's $15 a month. 2, seriously, it's $15 a month. 3, no big contracts. 4, I use it. 5, my mom uses it. Are you playing me off? That's what's happening, right? Okay, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, $15 per month equivalent required. New customer offer first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
All right. Every game in the Big 12 this weekend is on Saturday. It is a fully loaded Saturday of action for the Big 12 conference. So this is definitely one of those days you're like, oh, no, I'm in front of the TV. This is what I'm going to do today. I'm just going to watch Big 12 football because you will not be disappointed. I hope you have subscriptions to every single TV channel platform that carries college football because you're probably going to need it. I am not kidding. Let's start off on Saturday morning at 11 a.m. on the CW. See, I told you, every channel. Go ahead and just start downloading all the streaming apps. Baylor on the road at SMU on Saturday morning at 11 a.m. to kick things off. We got a Big 12 ACC P4 action here. Southern Miss currently about a 2.5 point favorite. Total in this one's around 64.5. Usually I make the guests go first, but I feel like that's unfair because we understand the format and I want to give them a chance to kind of get the format down. So Chase, you're going first this week, buddy. What do you want?
And that we said Arizona State is the game.
Baylor at SMU.
Baylor at SMU.
Yeah, right here, bud.
It's been a long day. It's been a long day.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Baylor at SMU. I swear my brain actually heard Southern Miss, but I was like, I don't think that's a Big 12 game this week. Maybe it was Mississippi State. I don't know. Okay, Baylor at Southern Miss. Let's go down the sheet here. I'm taking Baylor. I don't love some of the defensive choices that we talked about on Sunday, but I think if you're going to make me pick this game, I'm not going to shy away from Baylor just yet. And I think the thing that really got me there was it's interesting to see this number at 2.5 when Baylor is on the road playing a ranked SMU team. I think the number in the market are making a statement about how competitive these two teams are. If it's at +3, and I think it was earlier in the week, but it didn't linger there longer, then I have to maybe make a harder choice, maybe look at the total and play the over. But with the market moving toward Baylor here, strong enough for the book to come off of the 3 and have a consensus 2.5 in the middle of the week, I'll go ahead and back the Bears.
Okay. Look, I'll run through the numbers. SP Plus has SMU minus 9.9. T-Shoes got SMU minus 7.5. FEI has SMU minus 6.1. Parker's got SMU minus 2. Kelly Ford gives SMU a 67% chance to win. The only one on Baylor is Beta Rank, our good friend Rob Bauer. Baylor minus 0.89. So everyone's pretty much on SMU, though it's anywhere from -2 to -9.9. I do have concerns about Baylor's inability to tackle last week and how much damage Jackson Arnold was able to do with his legs. SMU's quarterback can run. But man, you can't come away from that game going, I expect Baylor to not be better on defense this week than they were last. I cannot imagine that, because if they aren't, Baylor will be searching for a new head coach this coming offseason. Just period, end of story. No matter how much we like Dave Aranda. So if we end up with a consensus, then we have doomed Baylor here. I'm riding with you. I'm not ready to give up on the Bears. I told you I wasn't going to sell all my stock, but I was going to sell some. So I'm going to ride with you, Chase. I'm sorry. We may go down on this one together. I'm coming with you at Baylor plus 2.5. Andrew.
Call it a consensus. I'm sorry.
No!
I feel like I know. It's a good way to start. This is a great way for me to start my inaugural appearance here. I think it's a huge game for Baylor. I do agree with you. I think the tackling was awful in that game, but I think that kind of can be what is the reason for the final score in that loss to Auburn. They don't want to go 0-2, obviously, and I'm a big believer in Sawyer Robertson. He was incredible in that game, 419 yards, 3 touchdowns. I'm really happy with the no picks. And I'm still not sure what to make of the SMU defense here. 9 starters gone. Obviously, they did a good job rebuilding in the portal, but I think that's still a big question mark going up against a quarterback like Robertson. So I'm with you guys, plus 2.5 here.
Consensus curse about to strike again. You just know it. Sorry, Baylor. We'll take the blame. All right, we got another big game to kick off the day on Saturday. Big Noon's headed to Ames, Iowa for Iowa State versus Iowa at 11 a.m. on Fox. 72nd all-time meeting between the in-state rivals, officially called the Cyhawk Trophy, but those in the know call it El Assico. Iowa State looking to win back-to-back against Iowa for the first time since 2011-2012, and to win at home for the first time since 2011. Iowa State has not won this game in Ames in 14 years. It's been a minute. So they are obviously hoping to turn that trend around this year and let Rocco Becht go down as one of the best quarterbacks in all time at Iowa State with back-to-back wins over Iowa. At the moment, Iowa State, I got anywhere from 2.5 to 3.5 point favorite, depending upon the book. Total in this one is 41.5, pretty much across the board. I'm up first here, and so I'll run through the numbers real quick. SP Plus has Iowa State minus 6.5. Tishu has Iowa minus 1.5. FEI's got Iowa State minus 2.7. Beta's got Iowa State minus 6.78. Parker's got Iowa State minus 12. Kelly Ford gives Iowa State a 58% chance to win. So we've got everything from Iowa minus 1.5 to Iowa State minus 12. It's pretty big and pretty wide. Look, we understand when it comes to this game, you bet the under. 5 of the last 6, 16 of the last 19 Iowa State games have gone under the total, including some insanely low totals that still hit the under. Typically, we go for the under here. I'm not going to go there just yet. Since 2017, the average margin of victory in this game is 5 points, with 4 of those games decided by 3 points or fewer. I feel like this is the year the trend breaks. Not the close game, but the total trend. I think Iowa finally has a quarterback. And y'all, after 2 weeks, I cannot stop heaping praise upon Rocco Becht. Now, look, we know Iowa State's defense is going to be good. We know Iowa's defense is going to be good. That's why these games are always the way they are. But I just get the vibes in this one that we're going to see some points because Rocco Becht's going to be able to get some. And I think Gronkowski, the quarterback for Iowa, is probably going to be able to pass the ball a little bit on Cyclone secondary and probably get it. I have on I've got on Battle Bets. I've got one of my picks for my player picks is for Iowa's quarterback to score a touchdown. It's literally score 0.5 touchdowns on Iowa State, which was just sent like a gimme. I don't know why that was that way, but it is. So with that in mind, even with a total here in the 41.5. Now, look, I absolutely think Iowa State's winning this game. I'm very torn between them minus 2.5 because the fact that I can get them for less than 3 is insane at all right now. I'm very torn between that and actually taking the over 41.5, thinking there's going to be a few points here. But because I can get a 2.5, I'm taking the Cyclones. I absolutely believe this year they're going to finally go back-to-back for the first time in a very long time. Andrew.
I promise I'm not just here for the first time. I'm not trying to brown eyes you guys, but I'm also at Iowa State minus 2.5. I'll pay the minus 120 juice. I am in the same thought process. Getting less than a field goal is what pushes me there. I see the line, and my gut is to take the underdog. They've covered 5 of the last 7 meetings in this matchup, and they're going to be tight games. It always is. But I'm a believer in Rocco Becht, and a lot of people are going to make out, especially since it's the big noon game, and they're going to talk a lot about him not having his 2 NFL wide receivers this year. But I love what Matt Campbell is doing with his double tight end combo and Brahmer and Burkle. I think that's a really, really good combination, especially against the type of defense that I was going to run. And the Cyclones have already played against a mobile quarterback in Avery Johnson. And besides a few chunk plays, which you alluded to there, like they can throw on them a little bit, I thought they did a good job of containing him for the most part, especially for the first 3 quarters. And more importantly, they held him, Avery Johnson, just 21 rushing yards. So I think that's a really big factor heading to this game, trying to contain Gronowski, who is playing in his first rivalry, his first time in this rivalry. Like, that's a big deal. I know SDSU has played some FBS teams before, and he's played well in them, but playing in this rivalry will be a little different. So -2.5 for the Cyclones for me as well.
Chase?
I think you guys are out of your mind. I'm taking the under. I like Becht. Like, this is no shade to Becht, but the Iowa State team that I watched play Kansas State was up 14-7 at the end of the third quarter. So this is not, West Virginia's 2012 offense that was winning games 70-63. Gronowski, huge fan of at South Dakota State. I was ribbing Phillip a little bit last year when South Dakota State came down to Stillwater. So, like, no shade to him either. I like both of these quarterbacks. I just don't think this is going to be, a game that touches 45. So I'm definitely on the under. It's not even I'm playing the trend. I'm playing the number, which is, you don't see a lot of college football totals at 41.5, and they opened it at 42.5, and it came down fast. And I just, we know how this game goes. It's going to be a low scoring game. I don't care who the personnel are. So I'll take the under at the 41.5.
Well, FanDuel still has a 42.5 at -110.
Yeah, I saw that and I thought that seems unlikely, and I went to check it out, and it is 41.5 in the app. So it's just the tracking software, I guess, is slow to update.
All right, 41.5. I hope that doesn't come back to bite you when they score 42 points.
Well, you should be thanking me, because I could have taken Iowa State -2.5, and then we'd be
completely screwed the Cyclones. Yeah, look,
exactly.
Consensus curse. Okay, we've got another morning game, so you've got to have Fox, you've got to have CW, and you've got to have TNT or HBO Max if you want to watch Texas Tech take on Kent State in what will probably be one of the absolutely ugliest games of college football all weekend. And there's a lot of ugly. Wisconsin's playing Middle Tennessee, folks. There's some real sicko college football this weekend if you're into that kind of thing. This one, like I said, 11 a.m. on TNT HBO Max. Excited to see the TNT coverage this weekend. That should be fun to get if you haven't had a chance to watch that, especially for Texas Tech fans. At the moment, Texas Tech is a 48.5. I think I see a 48 point favorite in this game. Totals at 58.5. Oof. Andrew, you get to go first, sir. What would you like here?
Innately, I just want to take Kent State at the 48.5 points because it's 48.5 points. But they're so bad. Like they did not cover against Merrimack. They played 2 quarterbacks. They scored just 21 points in that game against FCS Merrimack. I think the Texas Tech defensive line is going to be an absolute force this year. So for those reasons, I'm going to avoid the spread. I'm going to go the total and take the under 58.5 here in hopes that Texas Tech puts up a 52 spot and absolutely shuts out Kent State here. This is how I see that one playing out. So under 58.5 for me. I just don't see Kent State scoring at all.
Okay. Chase?
I just want to underline something that Andrew said, which was Kent State did not cover against Merrimack. not North Dakota State, okay? Not a Valley team, not a CAA team. As far as I'm aware, let's get the research team on this. Is this an FCS team named after a Civil War ironclad ship? I don't know. It might be. So that's not a great result. They were lucky. They had this on at Circa. I have no idea why, but they had Kent State Merrimack on at Circa on one of the screens. Kent State was lucky to win that game. They were trailing with like 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and they ran a kickoff back, and that's how they won. So they were even lucky to win the game at all. I will lay the 49 points with Texas Tech. Sorry,
Ew.
48 points with Texas
48. Yeah, we got to. There to go.
Tech.
Yeah, 48. You got a 48.
I'll add also, Kent State played 4 teams from the power conferences in the last 2 years. They lost 3 of the 4 by at least 50 points. So, what's up?
Like, we don't pick Big 12 FCS games on here, and I really consider just not like replacing this with an FCS game, because there are FCS games this weekend that will be more competitive than this one is going to be. This is no matter what you do, no one's winning this game. Like, Texas Tech technically will have a W afterwards. I'm sitting here looking at Bill Connolly's like beautiful, like full top 766, like with every single football team, to see where Merrimack even ranks in it. And I can't do a control F to search, because I'm trying to be like, where does Merrimack rank? I'll tell you this: Kent State not rated as the worst FBS team. They're 167th. Massachusetts, UMass is 206. So, and look, Kent State's higher ranked than UAPB, who Texas Tech beat pretty soundly and allowed to give a touchdown. I'm okay. I'm just going to literally close my eyes and point at something and be like, okay, I will take, you know what, just for fun, just so that we have some differentiation. I'm taking the over 58.5, because I can absolutely see them letting Kent State score 1 touchdown. And I get the vibes that, look, Texas Tech's non-conference schedule is so bad. It's UAPB, Kent State, and Oregon State, that Texas Tech is probably going to go ahead and just rack up as many yards and as many points as humanly possible for the vibes. Like, not just everybody mean, but for the vibes before conference play starts. It's like, yeah, we played a terrible schedule, but we didn't win in any of those games by like 1 score or 2 score. We won all these games by 7 touchdowns. Or that just feels very much kind of like what Texas Tech might be trying to do this season, aside from just, playing a schedule that would make a cupcake blush. Okay. That wraps up the morning slate.
Lower offenses, Phillip, some of these lower offenses, FCS and really low level offenses, they are so bad at covering big numbers. They're just not reliable at all. We're going to talk about a team in a little bit here that Oregon is going to play, and that low level offense that it has is just, it's so bad.
I'd be insulted if I didn't agree with you. Let's move to the start of the afternoon slate for the Big 12. We've got another new channel for you. Again, we're just going to rack up new channels every time we turn around on ESPN2 at 2:30 Central Time, God's time, on Saturday. It is the Border War back again. Love to see a rivalry return. Kansas on the road to Missouri. I am very excited for this one. I love when rivalries come back, and this game is obviously going to be more competitive than the game that my team will be playing on Saturday. So I will be much more likely have this one turned on, and my wife will go, why aren't you watching? I'm like, because that game was over after 4 drives. At the moment, Missouri is a 6.5 point favorite over Kansas. Total anywhere from 50.5 to 51.5. Chase, you're up first, sir. What would you like here?
Yeah, it's a cute little rivalry where adjacent teams from nearby states don't like each other. Okay, yeah. Let's come back next week if we want to see the real thing. I'm gonna take under 51.5. I think there's been a lot of offense by both teams in the first couple games that have been played here, and I think quality of opponent has a lot to do with that. And I think when they get on the field with each other, I think we're going to see that offense come down a little bit. And I think the market so far is only accounting for, I mean, I guess I should put so fine of a point on that. It's 51.5. It's not 71.5, but it's, I think we're going to see a lower scoring rivalry style game. And I think there is an opening here for a total play because of what we've seen so far, the 2 games with Kansas and the 1 game with Missouri. So I'll play the under here. I guess let's check behind me on the number because that is from this afternoon. Maybe it's come down. But nope, there's a 51.5 at ESPN Bet.
Perfect.
Thanks, Bristol.
It counts. It counts. I'll run through for you for the totals. I can't use Parker's because for some reason, like every single total that his machine is spitting out right now comes out to 47 points. So I've got to text him about that.
I also know Parker, and he said that his matchup numbers, the total numbers, are a little wonky still as he's trying to get his website going there.
Yeah. But for the three I do have totals for, SP Plus has 54, Tishu has 51.5, FEI has 55.2. So they trend toward the over, but I like Chase's argument for the under more. Now, here's where I want to go. SP Plus has Missouri minus 5.7, Tishu has Mizzou minus 5, FEI has Mizzou minus 4.1, Beta has Mizzou minus 4, Parker has Mizzou minus 4, Kelly Ford has Missouri, 64% chance. I don't know who wins this game. I would lean towards Missouri. I would not lean towards Missouri by almost a touchdown. I wish it was 7, but at 6.5, it's still enough. I'll take Kansas to cover in this one. I lean towards Missouri finding a way to win this, but I think Kansas is at least good enough to get the cover here because I don't care what Missouri did to UCA last week. I don't buy Missouri as this like fantastic team. They will have taken a pretty good size back from last year. And I don't think Kansas took as much of a step back as I thought they would after the second half last year. In fact, I feel like they're in a much better spot now than they were. I mean, they're obviously in a much better spot now than they were at the start of last year, but I don't think they've taken as big of a step back from the end of last year to the start of this year as some thought they may have, just because there's so much of a mystery box. I'll take Kansas to cover, KU plus 6.5. Andrew.
I'm kind of with all the thinking here. I think it's going to be a low scoring game, which trends towards the underdog. And I'm not really sure what Mizzou is yet here. I think the defense should be solid, 9 starters back, but I think the offense does take a step back without Brady Cook, Luther Burden, and their top 2 backs. And what's really impressed me, the thing I keep going back to, Kansas's offensive line has looked really good in the first 2 games. Keeping Jalen Daniels healthy and upright is obviously the most important thing for the Jayhawks, and they've done it so far. It seems like he's also built good chemistry with Emmanuel Henderson and Cam Pickett. Like, that was one of the big question marks with this Kansas team. Like, who is Daniels going to throw to? And he's starting to figure that out here in the first 2 weeks. I like what Leopold's doing so far this season. So yeah, I'm gonna ride you with you there, Phillip, and take the 6.5 points with the Jayhawks.
Love it. So way to make Big 12 fans like you. Just make Big 12 picks, and so far you're doing a great job. We'll continue to do a good job after just a quick ad break. Hey, I teased it before. We talked about it here on the show. We posted it on social. Week 1 is in the books, but that doesn't mean that you can't join our Battle Bets League. If you like to listen to this show, if you like to listen to any show that talks about college football betting, and you've always thought, I would love to do that, but I don't want to spend any real money. Well, congratulations. Download Battle Bets, because that is exactly what it is. It's real bets with fake money. You get 3,500 fake dollars each week to bet on all the P4 action you can. It's a ton of fun. I enjoyed making my picks for week 1. I didn't do terrible, but not great. I've already made all my picks for week 2, and this is a reminder and encouragement to everybody in the 1012 Pod Fans League to make all their picks for week 2. Go in and have a great time. Shout out to WVU Chris, who won last week. He's got a koozie and a sticker that will be on the way and in the mail. Congrats to him. We've got Iowa State fans. We've got West Virginia fans. We've got, I think 24 people are in our league right now. No, we're up to 26. We actually had a couple join this week. Very excited about it. So even if you join now and don't accrue enough points to be the overall winner, you can still win each week with us and get a prize. And I promise the prizes will get better as the weeks go on. So go check out the show notes. Go check out our social media. You can find the link to Battle Bets. Download the app. Now listen, reminder, it's only for Apple phones. They don't have it set up for Google yet. I'm really sorry. No Android. They're working on it. It'll be ready for next year, but for now it's just Apple. But if you got an Apple phone and you've always wanted to bet, not have to spend any real money, come download Battle Bets. It is a ton of fun. Love this app. Had a great response from it so far. I've had a lot of great conversations with the guy who made this app about what changes people are asking for, what to do to make it better. Like, I love getting in on the ground floor of things, because if you can build a relationship with them and help kind of push it by offering advice, and it is someone who will take the advice and is working to make their site or their app better, man, that is awesome. And he has been very, very responsive to any and all changes that we and everyone has been suggesting to him. So go check it out. Download Battle Bets. You can find ours, the 1012 Pod Fans League, or you could just go straight to the link in the show notes and download the app and join us and start winning today.
You're tuned into Auto Intelligence, live from Auto Trader, where data, tools, and your preferences sync to make your car shopping smooth.
They're searching inventory.
Oh, yeah.
They find what you need.
They're gonna find it.
You can make a budget for your wallet to help you succeed. Pricing's precise and true.
So true.
It's smarter car shopping.
Ooh.
Just for you.
Oh, it's just for you.
Ooh.
Find your next ride at autotrader.com. Powered by Auto Intelligence.
All right. Afternoon games continue here, folks. Not a sickos game, but not one I think everyone's going to be super excited about. Oh, I hope you've got that ESPN Plus subscription, though, because here's another different place you're going to have to go to watch a Big 12 game on Saturday. That's right. At 2:30 p.m., ESPN Plus, we've got Cincinnati hosting Bowling Green. I have no specific notes about this game other than to tell you that the Cincinnati Bearcats are currently favored by about 21 to 21.5, depending upon where you shop. Total in this one is about 46.5. I'll run the numbers. SV Plus has Cincinnati minus 16.4. T-Shoes got Cincinnati minus 21. FEI's got Cincinnati minus 15.9. Beta's got Cincinnati minus 18.39. Parker's got Cincinnati minus 24. Kelly Ford gives Cincinnati an 89% chance to win. Everyone's very much on Cincinnati, anywhere from 15.9 to 24 points as a favorite. Parker posted his "How badly did we get beat" graphic on Wednesday. It's one of everyone's favorite things he posts during college football season. And there at the far left, where you don't want to be, because that means you outplayed the team that you lost to, was the Cincinnati Bearcats. Because as I continually say, it's not the roster and it's not Brendan Sorsby. Even if he did throw an interception, it is the coaching staff. Do I want to take the Cincinnati Bearcats coaching staff to beat a team, no matter how good or bad they are, by more than 3 touchdowns? No, I don't. I really don't. I don't want to do that. So what am I going to do? Ride with the fact that everybody's projection has the over in this game. 54, 49, 47.6, 47. I actually think I'm going to take, I can't believe I do this. This is so dumb. I'm going to take the over 46. There's still a 46. Chase, confirm. I see it's at Fanatics. Is that good? Does that work?
Check.
Also, Bet Rivers, if you're speaking, you're muted.
46 at Bet Rivers. And I think Bally. I don't know about Bally, but Rivers is legit. You can get that. So
I'll take the over 46. I feel confident that Cincinnati's going to put up some points. I feel confident that Cincinnati's going to give up a few. I'll take the over 46 in this one and say it goes just over to like 48. Andrew.
So I agree with you in theory that I don't want to lay 21.5 points with Cincinnati, but I'm going to. For Bowling Green, like, life is a little rough right now. Losing Loeffler was tough. Losing 32 seniors and a whole bunch others to the transfer portal was tougher. Don't really know what Eddie George is as a coach. I know he was in the FCS before. It'll be interesting to see what he does against an FBS opponent. They beat FCS Lafayette last week 26-7. This is kind of the same a little bit as the Kent State situation. 7 of those points came off a game-opening kickoff, and another 12 points just came off field goals where the offense just puttered out. So I think since he's motivated, they know they probably could have won. Well, they know they could have won that game against Nebraska. Like I said, don't love playing this big number, but I think Cincy is just going to rumble all over this one, all over the Bowling Green in this one. And they will just continue to run and continue to run and continue to run. So I think they will get to that over 21.5 spread there.
Chase.
I'm actually going to go head to head with Andrew here. There's a thing that happens with a team like Cincinnati, and it's not specific to Cincinnati, but you are a dog in week 1, and people pretty clearly think like, okay, Nebraska is the favorite, Nebraska should win, and you have a really competitive game. And even though the dog didn't end up winning, they still kind of get a bump in terms of market perception. And then the script flips the following week. So now Cincinnati's not a dog, they're a favorite. Now they're not being asked to be competitive, they're being asked to win by margin. And it's not only that, this number opened at 17.5 and has been bet all the way down to 21.5, right? So that advantage is getting bigger and bigger. If you want to look for like a rock hard spot to be betting against like momentum, it's this kind of thing, right? Where Cincinnati is obviously the better team. They're obviously going to win. They're probably going to win by multiple possessions here. But in terms of evaluating the number, I think this has gotten a little too rich. And because of the scenario flip where they're now being asked to win by a greater margin, even though they didn't win by a margin at all last week, they're being given a bump for being competitive. I don't think that always translates to covering a number. And so for that reason, I'm going to go with the Bowling Green side of this.
We've had to pick a game with a line of 48 and now a line of 21.
Yep.
And now we're going to pick another game with a massive line because we've got another
Wonder what that is.
2:30 game. We'll get there in a second. There's another one. This one is on Fox. Hey, it's our first repeat channel. Good. Fox. 2:30 p.m. It's a mostly Big 12 day. Colorado facing off against newly in the FBS Delaware, the Blue Hens. I have a Delaware Blue Hen pennant in my office hanging up from home field, and it's beautiful. It's just beautiful up there. Colorado, that has nothing to do with this game. Colorado is currently about a 23.5 to 24 point favorite, depending upon the book. Total in this one is 50 and a half. Let's see. And Andrew, congratulations, sir. You're up first. What would you like in this one?
Give me the Blue Hens plus 24.5 here. I'm kind of just over Colorado at this point. Caden Salter looked fine in his first start with the Buffs, but I think Colorado will be at its best running the football this year, obviously. So blowouts feel less likely to me than what we were used to with the Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders situation. And unlike some of the other FCF schools that have made the jump, they at least have Delaware has a little continuity here. Ryan Carty's in his 4th year of the program. They do return 8 starters on defense, and I think they'll make Colorado work just a little hard in this one and cover that number.
Chase?
Yeah, I'm with Andrew for pretty much the exact same handicap as the Bowling Green pick. Colorado was a dog to Georgia Tech. They exceeded expectations. That was basically a dead draw until the last 2 minutes when Georgia Tech gets the game. And so I think people's perception, mine included, of Colorado went up a little bit. Now they're being asked to lay 24.5 points. So I'm just fundamentally against that, and I'm going to take the points with Delaware.
Good. Look, Andrew made a little point there. He mentioned the Colorado run game. We talked about it on our Tuesday podcast of at least through one game, Colorado might actually have a run game for the first time in program history under Deion Sanders as the head coach. And if they do, and they don't have to throw 1,000 times every game, and you don't have Travis Hunter out there to throw 1,000 times too, you're going to run the ball a little bit more. I'm going to go against the numbers. FEI has the total at 51.4. T-Shoe's got it at 57. SP Plus has it at 56. I'm going against the numbers. I'm actually going to take, there are 50.5 still. I'm taking the under. First off, I want to avoid the consensus curse because that's just never a good thing. The show never fails to consensus curse teams on a weekly basis. I feel comfortable. Again, kind of like the last game. I took the over 46 because I think about 48 points is probably about right. Same thing here. I kind of think if they could get to the 45 to 48 points, I don't know that they can break 50 or will break 50. I don't think Delaware will score enough. And I don't think Colorado is going to have to score enough for them to get to this. I like Delaware covering here. I just feel like I like the under a bit better. So I'm taking the under 50.5. All right. The other afternoon game. We got a new channel, folks. CBS now. We got CBS added to our list of channels and networks and apps that you have to have downloaded. Another one with a massive line. Oof. Oh boy. Gone are the days of competitive Oklahoma State and Mike Gundy. Oklahoma State traveling up to Oregon. I'm sure they, at the time when they scheduled this one many years ago, did not expect to be sitting here looking like this and Oregon looking like that. 2:30, as I said, CBS. Oregon is a 28.5. There's a 29-point favorite in this game. Total at 57.5. Chase, I believe you're up first, sir. Are you gonna pick the dog again?
No. No, I'm not. I texted Phillip. I had Oklahoma State on the money line in a parlay last week, and that was against UT Martin. That was about all I was comfortable with. I was ready to pull the trigger on Oregon at minus 28, which is what the number was earlier today. There are no more clean 28s on the board. You got to lay the hook, or you got to go to 29. I can't take a team total, can I? I think we've made rulings about this before in the past. That's off the board.
You know what? Would you like a team total this week, Chase?
I think I would. I think that's the least bad option at this point.
You know what? Hit it, bud.
All right, I'm just pulling up because I don't know what the number is, but I know what I want. I want, if I can find it in here, where is this game? Did Oklahoma State leave the Big 12? There we go. Team total. Once again, this is excellent podcasting. I want Oklahoma State under team total.
Okay.
So
And I
the team
can't
total,
find it.
I can tell you earlier at least at FanDuel, it was 13.5 at about plus 110. And I'm going to steal your thunder here a little bit, Chase, too, because I'm on Oklahoma State under 6.5 in the first half at plus 116.
Kind of like that.
Okay. So I've got OSU under 13.5 for the game. OSU under 6.5 in the first half. Okay. Oh, God.
Andrew, I don't know if you were intending to play that first half for the podcast or if that's just a bet you have, but I absolutely think you should be allowed to play a first half team total in what I am very confident has never been done before on this show, ever.
Okay. Well, it's my turn. So give me the under 57.5. I don't think OSU will do much. Oregon might do a lot. I'll say this. OSU starting quarterback is out. Their starting running back isn't going to play. One of their starting offensive linemen is out. Oklahoma State is 5-10-1 to the under in non-conference games since 2021, 2-6 to the under since 2023. Give me the under 57.5. Gone are the days of Mike Gundy putting out an absolutely unbeatable and incredible offense because he doesn't want to anymore. He wants to be like any coach when they get old and are doing this for a long time, conservative and rely on their defense. And as far as I know, Jim Knowles ain't still sitting there running the defense in Stillwater. So under 57.5.
You know, Phillip, all I'll say to that is I had many similar thoughts last week when I bet the under in the Oregon-Montana State game, and boy, did I feel dumb about halfway through the third quarter. So I wish you the best of luck.
Thanks. Like I said, Kansas, Missouri at 2:30, also looking real good.
Gundy came out and he said that the Autzen Zoo noise won't rattle his rookie starter. And I was just like, that's enough. That's enough for me right now. Like, just say we are preparing him for an intense situation or the crowd noise. It won't affect him because, oh boy.
I don't know. I'm going to take Gundy's side of this. What's he supposed to say? Like,
fair enough, I guess. But
yeah, our
tough.
quarterback, he's 18 and a bit of a pussy. We're a little concerned. Like,
Look, Gundy, most of the time, you have to learn how to translate Gundy. Gundy, most of the time, doesn't say things to be bulletin board material. But the problem is, it's so easy to take segments of Gundy comments and make them out of context and make them feel like bulletin board material, like this nonsense about like high spending teams should only play high spending teams. Like that's not what he was saying. He was saying like Oregon's great because they have the money to spend on like great rosters. It's why they're able to have a great, which is like not an insult. People still want to take that as an insult, but like you should be happy that you're like, no, we got money and we're going to finally be able to use it properly, not in McDonald's bags. So whatever. All right, we're moving on. Weird time, 3 p.m. ESPNU, another new channel. Again, you better at this point, just get cable. Okay. Just go ahead and get cable. I don't know if you want to have this many different streaming services downloaded at one time. On ESPNU at 3 p.m. This is a very interesting one. West Virginia on the road at Ohio. Feels like a trendy and popular upset pick when you go and look and listen to college football fans. The Mountaineers, a 3.5-point road favorite. Total in this one is 60.5. Well, I'm up first. Oh boy. Look, I always ask the question, how much do you value a team-specific historic data when there's a coaching change? Because it's so hard to look at like, well, this is what they've done over the last 3, 4, 5, 6 years, except now Rich Rod's the head coach, and I don't think you can equate Rich Rod to what was done by Neil Brown the last 3, 4, or 5 years, or the coaches who came before him. West Virginia is going to run tempo here. Ohio is impressive in closing the gap on Rutgers. I think they're going to run as well. I don't know what WVU's defense is going to look like here. I'm leaning towards West Virginia or the over. I'll run the numbers real quick. Basically, you've got anywhere from Beta Rank, who has Ohio minus 4.78 and is the only one on Ohio. Otherwise, it's FEI with West Virginia minus 0.6 to as high as Parker with West Virginia minus 8. A lot of in between there. Kelly Ford gives West Virginia 59% chance to win. I just don't, that total feels, God, I want to take the over. I shouldn't do that. That's a bad idea. I shouldn't take the over. I think both teams are going to score a lot of points. I think it's a high scoring game, but it's going to be one of those where it's like ends at 59 and I'm going to hate that I took 60.5 and took the over. But you know what? If you can't handle the heat, don't get in the kitchen. I think I used to have one of those shirts that said that back in the day. You remember the shirts and everything had dogs on them doing things? It was always I don't even know what the brand was, but it was like the thing to have, a shirt with dogs like playing cards or doing. Anyways, over 60.5, West Virginia, Ohio. Andrew.
Let's ride over 60.5. Big Parker. Yeah, obviously almost upset Rutgers last week. 240 passing, 93 rushing, 4 total touchdowns, but obviously Ohio still gave up 34 points to what I would not call a great Rutgers offense. We know Rich Rod plays the tempo. That's pretty much the extent of the handicap for me. We're going to see a lot of plays in this game, and I'm not sure about that Mountaineers defense. That didn't bring back one starter this year. Obviously, a new head coach changes that a lot. New DC, but yeah, over 60.5 for me too.
Chase? In your West Virginia
Let's
shirt
circle the
there.
wagons. Yeah. Let's circle the wagons on a couple things. Phillip, you said you don't think we can compare Rich Rod to Neil Brown or any of the coaches that came before him.
Well, obviously,
I can think of one coach I can compare him to that came before him.
Okay, let's not.
I think it's a fair comparison.
Out of context, sir.
Also, look, a lot of talk of channels here. Until we get to a flow sports game, I think, we haven't hit crazy town. At least there's no flow sports on the docket this week, is all I'm saying.
Sure.
Really, we need to get to a place where we can take all of these various streaming services and then sort of bundle them together into one product that you could buy and you just get all of them. I don't know why anybody hasn't come up with that yet. As for the game, if you just looked at the box, I said this on Sunday night. If you just looked at the box score for the West Virginia Bob Morris game, you'd be like, all right, Rich Rod cooking again. Yeah, Morgantown, High Street. Looks good. It was a one-score game at halftime. And Robert Morris isn't even a good FCS team. So they just piled on a bunch of bullshit in the second half to make it look good. Ohio's a real team. I think they're going to win outright. I think I've been pretty consistent about, this rebuild is not going to be done in 2.5 weeks. It's not going to be done in one off season. So you're playing a good G5 team. You're playing on the road. Fair amount of animosity between like the northwestern half of West Virginia and going across the Ohio River. So like, I'm not saying this is a rivalry, but this is a fan base that's going to want to beat West Virginia. I like Ohio. I like them plus the points. I like them outright.
All right. That's fun. Okay. I have too many. I picked 4 totals in a row, 5 totals. Too many totals. All right. Well, let's move on to the next game then. Maybe I won't have to pick a total here. I don't think I will. 6 p.m. our first true night game. This one on ESPN. 6 p.m. God's time kickoff. Kansas State still licking their paws after a tough start to the season. Playing Army. Reminder, Army, one of the 2 teams at the FBS who has lost to an FCS team so far this season, if that tells you anything. Kansas State currently a 17-17.5 point favorite. Total in this one is 46.5. Andrew, I believe you're up first, sir. What would you like?
Let's lay the 17 points with Kansas State here. Obviously a tough start for the Black Knights. Life without Bryson Daly is a tough spot for them. And I think they're just in the wrong place at the wrong time. I still think Kansas State is a much better football team than they've showed the first 2 weeks. Obviously, 2 bad games in a row and are probably pretty fortunate to not have lost to North Dakota. Once again, not North Dakota State or South Dakota State, just regular old North Dakota. But I think they'll be motivated, and I expect them to get their heads right in this one. So I'll lay with Kansas State here.
Chase?
I'm also on Kansas State, and this is a bet I have in real life. Kansas State minus the 17. Kansas State losing in Dublin and then almost losing to UND. And this number getting posted where it was posted tells you everything about this game. That there is no respect for Army in the market at all. And I mean, that's because of the Tarleton, outcome, right? And I think if you want to be kind to Army, what you could say is, hey, sometimes these service academies, they take weird losses, not this bad, but they take weird losses or have, way too close games against really bad teams. And they show back up the next week or after the bye, and they are ready to go, and they have fixed 90% of their problems. So if this is Army up 3 with 7 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, I will not be shocked, because that's a thing that happens with these service academy teams, especially Navy. That said, I am a marketplace bettor. I evaluate the number. I'm basing a lot of my opinion off of how the number is shaped, and the number says we do not respect this Army team. And so I sadly will disrespect the troops.
So you guys are going to make me consensus kill us here if I take Kansas State. Okay. Kansas State's 3-6 against the spread in non-conference games since 2023, 0-4 in their last 4 non-conference games. But like a normal, if Army hadn't lost to Tarleton State last week, I'd be all over Army, but you lost to Tarleton State. They're a good FCS team. They are. That's it. They're, I believe, a preseason top 25 team, but still not great. I think Kansas State can cover 17 points. What I feel more confident in is Kansas State's defense doing a good job limiting Army's offense. Kansas State putting up some points to make things look better. And the total coming in under the 46.5. So you guys are going to force me to take another total in this because I don't want to consensus curse us or Kansas State. So I'm going to take under 46.5 in this game. Sick of these totals. I don't want to take any more totals. And with that, we're going to take another ad break. and we'll be right back for our last few picks of the game.
New Vitamin Water Zero Sugar Pineapple Passion Fruit is packed with vitamins, just like the amount of peas we packed in that sentence. It's packed like your tote bag, the one you stole from your ex, or your overpriced half a studio apartment, or extra rushed rush hour traffic. Packed like your calendar, triple booked at 5, of course. Grab a Vitamin Water. Did we mention it's packed with vitamins?
Okay, it's time for the second night game on our slate here. I don't know if y'all are on social media. Some people are, some people aren't. And if you happen to have seen what Rice posted ahead of their rivalry game with just down the road Houston. These two teams facing off at Rice, 6 p.m. ESPN Plus on Saturday. And Rice unveiled what uniforms they're going to be wearing. They're a light blue uniform that look an awful similar shade to Houston's blue uniforms. If that's not some straight up top-notch petty rivalry BS, I don't know what is, and I love it. Injected into my veins. Please. Absolutely phenomenal. Houston currently about a 13.5, 14-point favorite in this one on the road. Total at 39 and a half. Ooh. I get to start here. Look, Houston was pretty good in their opener. Not incredibly awesome, but they're pretty good. Rice won, I believe, a 14-13 game over Louisiana, if I remember correct. I get why the total is this low.
14-12.
14-12. I get why the total is this low. I'm not touching the total though, because I'm tired of taking totals. Chase, are these 13.5s real?
Yeah, that's what I'm in the middle of looking up right now.
I've run through all my information to talk about here. I'm going to go ahead and put 13.5. If you tell me they're fake, then I'll change it to 14. But I'm taking Houston to get the cover in this one in the rivalry game, thanks to Rice being like, we're going to wear Houston blue. Boo-boo. Andrew?
13.5.
Yes.
Fight you on it. I'll do one fight with you. Give me the Owls. Hooty hoo. Just don't believe in Connor Wegman. I just he was fine. I would have preferred to if he had went out and absolutely lit the world on fire last week, I'd be like, okay, I can get behind this, but he still just looks like the guy who's been underwhelming in his entire college football career. I thought the Rice defense was pretty impressive. Obviously Louisiana is not Houston, but give me 14 points with the home dog with a team for the same reason that is petty enough to wear those jerseys and do a great troll job. So I'm using it as a positive in this sense. Give me the 14 points with Rice.
It's yours, sir. Chase.
Yeah, the Louisiana data point is really what's throwing me off here. I generally, because there's a 13.5 available, I would probably want to lay the points against the Nerds, even though I do love an under on a college football total under 40. I mean, that's crack to me. So it is kind of a tough call for me personally. Louisiana is like second or third in the Sun Belt futures table. So a win over that Cajuns team, I think I have to take seriously. So for that reason, I will bet on the thing I am most confident in the game, which is the Houston defense. And I will take the under 39.
Love a good under on an under 40 total. Beautiful. All right. One of arguably the biggest games of the weekend for the Big 12 conference. We got another Big 12 versus SEC game. 6:30 p.m. kickoff on ESPN2. Arizona State traveling to Mississippi State. This is the second half of the home and home that began last year with a great Arizona State win. Currently, the Sun Devils are a 6.5 point favorite. Total in this one's about 58.5. I do see a 59. I see a 59.5. So we've got some options. If you go with that number, I've lost track of whose turn it is. I think I had to go first last time. So that means Andrew, you're up, sir.
Give me the Sun Devils at 6.5. Mississippi State, yes, they're an SEC team. Yes, they have a talent base that would be comparable to a lot of top Big 12 teams. but there's a lot of holes in this roster. This is a team. They lost to Toledo last year. Yes, they beat Southern Miss this year, and they covered the 14 points, but that game was 13-10 at half. So it wasn't. They didn't pull away until later in the game, and I think it's mostly just not respecting Sam Leavitt enough. Like he looked super dynamic in week 1. I think he's gonna get talked about as the season goes along in the conversation for the number 1 overall draft pick in the NFL draft. That's the kind of season I think we're looking at for Mr. Leavitt there. And if this Arizona State team wants to achieve the goals that they have set out for themselves this year, that includes a good win here over Mississippi State. So I'll take them at less than a touchdown.
Chase?
I'm going to take the other side. I thought Mississippi State impressed me in the second half of that Southern Miss game. I watched the whole game. They did not look dead like they often looked in 2024. They looked like they had a little juice. Now, are they still going to be the doormat in that conference? Probably. But I think they will have an increased ability to be competitive and be an interesting dog in point spread markets this year. You would like to be getting more than 6.5 in a spot like this. And indeed, the number I think has come in from, I think in the offseason, there were some 10s out there. So you're not getting the best of the number. Definitely not a real life bet for me. But for the sake of the show, I'm going to take the 6.5, and I think the back door will be open through them.
All right, Mississippi State plus 6.5 for you. Every projection favors Arizona State by more than the number. FEI is the lowest at 7.1. Parker's is the highest at 24. Everything else is like an 8, 9, 11. But there's Parker. Kelly gives Arizona State a 74% chance to win. I came into this leaning Mississippi State just because I got a lot of questions about Arizona State, just the way they opened the season. But we talked about it, Chase, on Monday. You don't want to overreact to week 1s against FCS teams. Arizona State, they were a little bit sloppy. They had some penalties. I didn't love how many points they gave up. I would have liked a better performance from them. Now, they did play Northern Arizona, who is a good FCS team this year. Like, they are projected to be a good team. And so I think they just gave Arizona State more of a challenge than I expected. And that is a in-state, air quotes, rivalry game. They play each other every other year. Arizona plays them on the off years. So I don't want to overread into it, but it is you saw the video of the one girl walking around during practice just ringing cowbells. Like, yeah, that's what it's going to be like in Mississippi State. Just one lady with 2 cowbells ringing. It's going to be a lot louder than that when you get to Mississippi State. I really want to lean towards Mississippi State getting the cover. Not because I don't think Arizona State can win. It's got that weird road game, big game, week 2 kind of vibes. And I also was impressed by Mississippi State beating Southern Miss the way they did in the second half, because I'm high on Southern Miss coming into this season. So Chase, I'm coming along with you. I think Mississippi State gets the cover. I still think Arizona State wins this. I just think it's one of those games where it's close late, but Arizona State maybe does maybe Mississippi State's got a lead in the fourth quarter, but Arizona State goes ahead, has some big plays down the stretch, pulls away and gets the win. I hope it's by fewer than 7, but I think Mississippi State is game to keep this one close late. I told you it's an all-day affair, because the last Big 12 game we're going to talk about is a 9:15 p.m. kickoff. Welcome to Big 12 After Dark, folks. We had it last year. We've got it again. It's a phenomenal thing to have. BYU hosting Stanford. Woo! It's fun. It could be fun. It could be a fun game. It's worth staying up for a little while. BYU currently a 20.5 point favorite. There's an 18. That is not a real 18. There's no way that's a real 18. 20.5 point favorite. Totals are around 46.5. Chase, you're up first, sir. What would you like in the Big 12 After Dark?
Well, it's Big 12 After Dark, so I'm laying the number with BYU. I think if we go back to the offseason, I think one of the takes that I had from the win totals analysis was I was kind of soft on BYU, and then I thought the market overcorrected when, all the quarterback drama happened. I think we saw a little bit of that potential in week 1 with the giant offensive output that, hey, it really maybe didn't matter so much, whether it was Retzlaff or somebody else playing quarterback. The system is the star. The overall offensive talent and pieces are the star, and it's less about the quarterback maybe. I think there's probably another couple of weeks before the market fully catches up to that value delta. So I'm pretty comfortable laying under 3 touchdowns because I'm seeing a lot of 20s and 20.5s. So I'm pretty comfortable laying 20 against a really bad Stanford team. And then I'll let you do the stat about BYU late at night that I know you like.
You mean the stat where BYU doesn't lose at home late at night? They don't lose at home in games that kick off at 6 p.m. or later. They just don't. I had the stat today on the other show, and I gotta remember what I had. I wrote it down, but I wrote it down on there and not in here. Hold on. I'm pulling a Chase and trying to remember. Oh yeah. Okay. So after last year, I believe the total is now 29-3 since 2019 in games that kick off after 6 p.m. at home. It's stupid. Now, that is straight up. That is not the against the spread record. I don't have that number because it's too weirdly specific for any site to give to me. I'd have to build my own metrics of historical data and try and look it up. I don't think that number is as good. Now, here's my question. Is Stanford as bad as they were in week 0, and is BYU as good as they looked against a really bad FCS team? I don't know that those things are absolutely true, but I know the BYU fans absolutely showed out last week for a game against an FCS team. I have a feeling that play's going to be wild again, and we're going to be sitting there watching Cosmo put every other dancer in the stadium to shame with his ridiculous moves. The most riz of any Big 12 mascot. So I'm riding with you. I'm going to take BYU minus 20.5. I just think they're going to have their game where they face a real challenge, and we're going to find out who the real BYU is. But I think this early season run is going to be just a wee all fun and games. Andrew?
Well, this is perfect. We come full circle here for my first time on the show. So consensus, we're cursing BYU here. I laid this personally when I saw the line at 18. Like, I went out and bet it right away. This is almost as much of a fade of Stanford for me than it is of a belief in BYU. I really was impressed with Bachmeier last week. I think, like Jay said, like, this is a system thing. The market overcorrected there. And I think that the BYU offense is going to be fine. But bringing in a new staff in March is just something you never see in college football. And it's the exact opposite of the continuity situation that they have in BYU. It's a tough spot here for Stanford right now. Losing, like, when you lose to Hawaii like that, things aren't looking great for them, for the Cardinals. So let's ride one final consensus play here to round out this inaugural episode for me. Let's go BYU.
Wait, you're saying you don't have faith in a head coach who has never coached at the collegiate level being a head coach of a college team that just started putting a staff together in March because Andrew Luck asked him to? I don't know about you. That's fine, I guess. That's the way you want to be. Okay. All right. We wrap this show up the same way every week by doing our non-Big 12 pick, brought to you by Battle Bets. Of course, go and download the app. Link is in the show notes. We'll pick one non-Big 12 game of our choosing. Any game on the board is available to you. I am up first this week in this one. Let me find. There it is. Okay. Here's the stat. Since 2021, top 25 teams who failed to cover in week 1 are 13-21-1 in week 2 with an average line of minus 21.7. So basically, ranked team plays ranked team, loses a game. Everyone thinks they're going to go out against weak opponent next week and just absolutely blast them. And so you get these massive lines, and everyone picks that ranked team to just take out all their frustrations of their loss on their new opponent. And they don't do that super often. Again, 13-21-1. So I said, okay, do we have an example of that this week with a big line? And lo and behold, we do.
Am I about to hear UL Monroe?
No, no. Different Sunbelt team. I'm taking Troy plus 33.5 versus Clemson.
Good
Looks
luck.
for ULM one.
Oof.
Thanks, I think. Oh, that one? Oh, 36.5.
That's one of those bets that's easier to make on a podcast than when you got to hand money to the guy on the other side of the counter.
Yeah, I don't have to. I lose nothing out of this because most people turn the podcast off by now. So, Andrew, you're up next, sir. What would you like?
Going with what I think is the best game for the weekend. I'm taking Duke on the money line at plus 128 against Illinois. These are really similar teams, good coaches, a lot of guys back. But for me, I'm all in on Darian Mensah. He balled out last week, and I think the other thing is I am impressed with Duke's commitment to football. Like, obviously they gave him $3 million, so that's something. But to see, like, they brought in Manny Diaz, and I think that defensive line will be a good matchup. Yes, Illinois has a good offensive line, but I think that Duke defensive line is going to surprise some people. I think they'll make life a little tough on Altmaier in this one. And at home, I'm taking the home dog on the money line right here. Give me Duke at plus 128.
So I got Duke plus 3 as the dog.
I'll take them plus 3.5, but I'm betting on the money line as well, plus 128. Okay. I think Duke plus wins outright.
Okay, love it. All right, Chase.
Yeah, Duke is kind of your sharp card bet of the week there. There's a lot of pros that are on the Blue Devils this week. I'll give you a couple freebies. Navy minus 21.5 playing Trent Dilfer's UAB. That just has a dead man walking feel to it. I think Navy's going to blast them, so I'll be happy to lay the big number. UAB was another one that was pretty lucky to get out against. I mean, we're talking about grading FCS quality opponents. Alabama State, not high on the list. Okay. Not a good team. UAB almost lost to them. So what are they going to do? Navy's good. Navy might, be in the playoff this year. So 21.5, like I'd probably be laying 31.5 here. So 21.5, love it. Louisville is a 14-point favorite against the old alum, the old program that handed me the degree and said, thanks for the 5 years, please leave. This is the best team that JMU has played in 15 years and maybe longer. I know that they're a very trendy team this year in the playoff conversation. I know that the brand is very powerful now. All of that is very cool. They're not beating this Louisville team. They're not going to be close to beating this Louisville team. This Louisville team is way better than them. I would be laying the 14. So, just a couple freebies there. My official pick that I would like to count here for the show, let's stay in the state of Kentucky. Ole Miss is 1-4 straight up and 0-5 against the spread in SEC openers under Lane Kiffin. Their last 4 games against Kentucky have all been decided by 3 points or less. Kentucky is a 10.5-point home dog this week. I'll take the spread. I'll take the money.
It's all yours, sir. Love that. That's fun. That's fun. All right, Andrew, again, man, thank you so much for joining us this week. It was a pleasure to have you on the show. You were a fantastic guest. I hope that you did better than Gary last week. And I certainly hope you do better than Douglas when he comes on later this season. And we'll make sure to if you do well, we'll let him know. And if you don't,
I'll never let him live it down if I do better than him on this show. That's for sure. He loves going head to head with me on stuff. So
I mean, you probably wouldn't even know if he had a good week. He's such a mild mannered and quiet guy. Like I don't even think he would say anything.
To a T, Chase, to a T. Andrew, remind everybody where they can find all your great coverage of college football this season.
You can find me on Twitter, X at covers_Caley. I post most of my stuff for free there. I also covers.com. That's where all of my work is posted, and on the Covers YouTube channel as well. So lots of great stuff there.
Again, appreciate it, Andrew. Chase, we will have your week 2 bets which you will send to me and I will put in the show notes of this, to give your wife a little bit of a break. I mean, she let you go to Vegas for 3 days. I figure you can take the twins off her hands for an afternoon, let her take a bubble bath or something.
Yeah, she's I'm gonna sound like a huge dick when I say this, but she had Labor Day off, and then her schedule was 3 straight 10s at the hospital this week. So she's basically on vacation this week. She's got 3 consecutive 10-hour shifts. But look, and that sounds bad, but she'll be the first to tell you, 10 hours in the hospital, she'll take that any day over managing the twins all day. So, who's the real victim?
Okay.
I think it's this guy.
So what you're saying is clip this and send it to your wife. Got it. Perfect. Will do. All right.
I'm telling
enjoy
you,
the games this weekend. We will be back on Monday to recap the weekend that was. Y'all enjoy the games.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.